and welcome to another episode of Frightfully Forgotten Horror Movies. But before we get started, what are we drinking?
V for Vienna.
Nice.
It's a Vienna lager.
Today we're going to bring to you 1960s Village of the Damned.
This movie's directed by Wolf Riehle. He's actually a German director, and he did lots of stuff, but we're going to mention one short that he did called Jesse! Jesse!
Take it back here, Jesse!
Jesse! It's based on the 1957 novel The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham.
George Sanders is in this, and he's in a shitload of stuff. One of his last movies we gotta mention is Psychomania, or The Death Wheelers. He was also Mr. Freeze in the original Batman series. Barbara Shelley is in this, and she's kind of a horror movie icon, too. She was in Quartermass in the Pit, Rasputin the Mad Monk,
Rasputin.
and she's in Dracula the Prince of Darkness.
Village of the Damned starts off with our main character, Gordon Zellaby. He's talking on the phone with his friend. Suddenly gets all kind of woozy and just collapses. Then it shows different members of this small town. Guys riding a tractor, just passes out. The woman's ironing and just leaves the iron there on and passes out.
Burning up her favorite dress.
Everyone in the whole village, just for no reason, goes unconscious. Alan Bernard, who was on the phone earlier with Gordon, goes to the village to see what's going on, and he runs into a policeman. They get talking. The policeman says, "Yeah, I'm looking for this bus that never showed up at its destination, and we don't know where it is." And they go about further down the road, and the bus is in the ditch. Policeman gets on his bike to go check it out, and just fucking bails on his bike. Like you did a whole bunch of times last year.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't even drunk.
No.
Anyone that goes past this point just goes unconscious for no reason. They bring in the whole military. They got guys with gas masks on.
The guy with the rope?
Passes out. They drag him back in.
Yeah.
Flying big planes. Not much happening in the village. In fact, nothing's moving at all. The plane just boom, blows up. Out of nowhere, everyone wakes up. And it's like nothing happened. But 2 months later, all the women in the village are suddenly pregnant. Even women that are still virgins.
Right.
And the doctors are, I won't tell anybody, it's okay. Like, they don't believe the fact that they're still virgins. One woman's husband just got back, finds out she's pregnant, and he wasn't there to conceive. He's all fuming at the table.
Yeah,
and
he's all drinking all that whiskey,
super
too.
drinking hard. We didn't see this pub, this awesome looking pub that I want to drink there so bad.
British neighborhood pub. Oh.
It's packed up with all the men because all the women are giving birth at the same time over at the hospital. And back in the day, well, the men didn't go to the hospital, they went and drank.
They know what's coming.
All these children are born on the same day. And they all kind of have these weird, same, strange features. Also starting to grow really fast and learn like 4 times faster than the average kid.
One day, Gordon is in one of the rooms of the house talking with some people. Loud, shrieking screams, and they run in, find his wife, Anthea, with her hand in a pot of boiling water. Turns out that she must have gave the baby some milk that was too hot and it burned the baby's mouth. The baby took his revenge on her. 3 years later, we see Gordon is starting to study these kids a little more, right? This oriental puzzle box that you need to go through like 10 steps to open it up. And he shows one kid, and then he takes the box to another kid who didn't see, and he knows how to do it. For some reason, they all seem to have this telepathic link. The kids are walking across the street. Some guy in a car, he narrowly misses one of the kids. And the kids turn around, and the eyes start glowing, and the guy just gets into a trance, gets into his car, and just fucking floors it right into a brick wall, and just the car blows up. Like, holy shit. That guy's brother knows that the kids did that. Gets himself a shotgun, and the kids see this, and they make him turn the gun on himself and blow his fucking head off. While Gordon and his wife are watching, no less.
Yeah, and they're stuck in a trance.
The military wants to dispose of these kids almost. Gordon doesn't quite like this. He wants to keep the kids alive and he wants to study them. Give me a year. They reluctantly give him the year. The townsfolk, they're all in the pub drinking and...
Yeah.
This isn't right. This has to stop. They all barge out with the torches and pitchforks and everything and go to the schoolhouse to, I guess, end the kids. Kids fucking turn the tables on them. Oh! Burn themselves alive? Like, fuck. Finally, the kids need to start branching out and...
Spreading.
Yeah. And they need Gordon to help them do this. That's where we're going to end the plot. If you want to see what happens at the end of Village of the Damned and what Gordon's going to do about all of this, keep watching.
So why should everyone watch Village of the Damned?
I think we got to start with the story. The story is probably one of the best sci-fi horror stories ever.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's up there with The Thing.
You mentioned The Thing, Outpost 31, right?
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go because of it's storming out. You kind of feel like that here. Even though you're in a village and there's the expanse everywhere around that you can leave,
Yeah.
it's almost as if the kids aren't letting anybody go anywhere. Makes you feel claustrophobic almost.
Even though it isn't. This is
Yeah.
all these open fields and everything, but it still feels claustrophobic.
Yeah.
MGM was supposed to shoot this in America with like American actors, and politics got involved, and because the plot contained virgin births, at the time that was kind of like, ooh, we don't want to touch that, you know, the church will get mad.
Right.
Who the fuck cares? So they actually had to go and shoot it in Britain, because I think it works better. Well, it takes place there anyways, so...
Yeah, it works a lot better. And the movie is only an hour and 15 minutes long, so it really packs a punch, too.
Takes place over multiple years within an hour and 15 minutes. Crams it all in perfectly.
Exactly, yeah.
Pacing is so good.
The characters are great. Gordon's character arc from the start of the movie to the end of the movie, from a loving, doting father to somebody who decides to end things.
Yeah, it's great.
You know?
He's happy that he's gonna be a father. The kids get born and they're kind of weird, but he still loves the kid. And then everyone else wants to kill the kids. He's the only one sticking up for him.
Yeah.
But at the end, he's the one that's like, fuck, they gotta go. For a 1960 film, the deaths in this are actually pretty cool, you know? And even though you don't see everything that happens, the fact that it's implied is pretty shocking, actually. Like the guy blowing his head off.
Yeah.
The shot of him putting the shotgun under his chin is enough to like, and then you hear it and you see everyone's reactions to it. Pretty shocking, even though you don't see it.
Exactly. And the fact that nobody can move or help, probably even worse.
It's terrifying. Yeah, you're forced to watch even though you don't want to.
These kids are fucking evil, man. There's also a moral debate, too. How are you going to bring these kids up? What are you going to do with them?
What's the right thing to do? I found it funny that nobody chose to let them develop and grow and live their lives and see what happens. It's either let's use them to our benefit as part of like a military action, or kill them, fearing what you don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what this movie is about, how like the town, it's like a witch hunt. Because it's beyond their control, they feel like they have to end it. But what if these kids could really benefit society? They don't even want to think about that. They just want to think about, let's end it because we don't understand it. So it's a real neat and moral debate in this.
It's almost as if the kids are bringing up the parents. The kids are in charge.
The kids are in charge, totally, yeah.
And the parents have to do what they say. Them being kids, they need to be brought up.
They couldn't live on their own.
No.
Yeah.
And so, I like that too,
The
right?
codependency. Yeah.
There's the dynamic there.
The movie looks amazing. Like, you kind of forget that it's a black and white film because it's shot so well. Even though it's black and white, you can almost see the colors just because it's lit so well. Like the countryside, you can see the green, even though it's black and white.
There's no real dark scenes in
Yeah.
this movie, which is interesting because it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Usually you'd expect a lot of dark,
Yeah.
seedy scenes,
It's
right?
bright, it all happens in the daytime, which I've always liked too, because, bad things can happen during the day.
This movie did have a sequel, and it was called Children of the Damned. It's good, but
okay.
it's not as good. It's not as poignant
Yeah.
as this movie is.
And there was also a remake that was done by horror movie legend and master John Carpenter, which actually isn't all that great, surprisingly. Also, it doesn't surprise me, too, because this movie is good enough. This movie, I think, is a masterpiece. It doesn't need to be remade.
Exactly.
So even someone as good as John Carpenter remaking it, there's nothing that you can really make better or build upon or do better. It's just kind of like, yeah, leave it. It's not like The Thing, where The Thing needed an update. This doesn't need an update.
No, not at all.
It seems phoned in.
Yeah, you just kind of, okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's fulfill the contract obligation and just be done with it.
Yeah, it's got some great actors in it. You know, Christopher Reeves is in it. It just has this kind of like made-for-TV feel to it, where there's no spark, you know? If you haven't seen Village of the Damned, definitely check it out. I'm surprised it doesn't make more lists or anything. It's fucking fantastic.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, it does everything perfectly. It's a great story. I can't think, there's not one thing I could say is flawed about this movie at all.
Definitely up there with the greats.
Yeah. Even if you're one of those people kind of like, black and white movies, fuck, check it out. You won't even notice it's in black and white. It's a masterpiece, and I think everyone's got to see it.